25, let R plus be the set of all positive real numbers. Let f from R plus positive real numbers to positive real numbers be a function satisfying x by f of x times f of y minus f of y f of x equal 1 for all xy that are positive real numbers. Find f of 1 over 2022. For solving these types of problem like BMO problem, I released BMO round 2 for UK, British Mathematical Olympiad. I told you in that video some important things about functions. One of them, let me write some important rules for function problems that are useful from qualifying level up to IELTS. Okay, I've written around 6 there are around 15 important rules you should use. Considering small example and special cases, I told you in my previous video exactly 2 days before the exam, get rid of complicated term. For example, here, this term is complicated. We should try to find two things that this term is equal and then subtract to get rid of that. Switch x, y, sometimes you need to change. Injective, surjective, check is it 1-to-1 or surjective. Telescoping rule in IMO problems also useful. And some around, I think, 9 or 10 important other rules. So let's start here. At first, I have a complicated term. I want to get rid of that. So let me write it again. Okay, because I want to get rid of this. If I, for example, switch x and y, then they are not equal. But if I replace, because it is y, it is f of x. You can't change f of x to x, but you can change y to f of y. If we replace y with f of y, then we have what? X f of y, f of x times, let's expand. It will be what? F of y minus x f of y, f of x times, okay, now we have much space. X f of y, f of x minus f of y, f of x equal to 1. Now, let me paste it in other place so that we have more space. Okay, now we want to get rid of this complicated term. Oh, sorry, here we have product x f of x times this times minus this. Okay, so let me correct. Okay, now if we switch, it's good. Why? Because if you switch x and y, then you have equal term, and then like two equation, two variable, you multiply this by corresponding coefficient to get rid of this. So if we switch x and y, then we have what? Y. So look, at first we know general solution, and then we write specific things. That's so much useful for especially hard problems. Here, change x and y, it will be f of x minus, this one is what? Y, f of x, f of y, f of x, f of y equal to 1. Now, if we consider these two equations and we want to get rid of that, these things is equal. So, if I multiply the first one by y, like two equation, two variables, and this one by x, and then subtract, let's see what we have. The first one, if I write rest with blue, the first one will be yx, f of y, f of x, f of y. Now here, you multiply this by y, xy, and x here, and subtract, so it will be cancelled, so you can write only minus x times this, minus xy, f of x, f of y, f of x equal to what? Right side. It will be y minus x. Now here, if we factorize, we have what equal terms? We have yx here, f of x, f of y, f of x, f of y, so we can write xy, f of x, f of y, and then here f of y minus f of x equal y minus x. So we get rid of that complicated term. Now we try to also get rid of this with replacement f of y. Okay, so we need what always when you want to solve these kinds of problems, it's so much useful. Work a little on sentence what you want to solve. Work a little on assumption. So here we try to find f of something. So if we consider y equals 1 here, then I have f of x. So it will be what? X f of x times f of 1 minus f of x equal to 1, and that's so much good. Why? Let me draw this also. So much good. Why? Because we can find f of x with only f of x and f of 1. So if we divide both sides, because the problem says x and f of x are positive integer, we divide both sides by x f of x, and now we can say if we take it to this side or multiply by -1 and take it to right side, f of x will be what? It will be negative, take it to right side, f of 1 minus 1 over x f of x. Okay, now it's the time to replace here. Also, replacement in algebraic problems are so much useful. You can solve hard problems with that simple idea. So x, y, this, now I replace f of 1 minus 1 over x f of x. So our goal to solve problems with logical ways. Okay, so minus f of, so here it is f of y. You should write y. And then minus f of x. It will be what? Minus f of 1 minus 1 over x f of x. And it will be what? Y minus x. So f of 1 and f of 1 will be cancelled. If we expand this, xy times this will be what? It will be minus y f of y will be cancelled. Minus x f of x. And okay, if you multiply this by this, minus minus plus, x f of x will be cancelled. It will be plus y f of y equal to y minus x. Now we take similar terms to one side. So for example, left side will be y f of y minus y equal to x f of x minus x. So we can say it is correct for all x's. So it is constant. We can consider this constant c. So we say x f of x minus x equal to c, and we can say x f of x equal to what? C plus x. And then we divide both sides by x because x is positive real numbers. The problem says it is not 0. You can divide c over x plus 1. Now we want to find c. If we find c, then the problem will be solved completely. Again, we should use replacement in main equality. So in main equality, if I replace x equals, look, special case, x equal to 1, y equal to 1, then I have f of 1 times f of 1. Okay, so minus f of 1, f of 1. If I consider that, I want to see, we will have what? So f of 1 is what? Most of the time, we can replace x with 0 here because x can only be positive real numbers. I consider a special case, the simplest one, c plus 1. So if I replace here, f of 1 is c plus 1, f of 1 is c plus 1, f of 1 here is c plus 1, and now it is x. If you consider this x, minus, it is what? C over x here. X here is c plus 1. C plus 1 plus 1 for this. 1. Now we want to find what? We want to find c. So here we can say this one, -1 will be cancelled. If we expand, it will be c squared plus c minus c plus 1 times this minus c equal 1. We can cancel these two terms. C squared is 1. C can be positive -1. If for f of 1, if c is -1, -1 plus 1 is 0. So c can only be 1, and if I replace f of x was c over x plus 1 will be 1 over x plus 1. The problem wants to find f of this, it will be 2022 plus 1, which equals 2023. Okay, as you can see also in this problem, we've used, considering small example, special cases, but also we've used Lagrange multiplier. I only released one video before the exam. I tried to consider some ideas like Lagrange multiplier. Considering a small example, I've solved some sample problems. I told you also in 2022 you need them, and as you saw, we've solved many problems with small examples and logical way. That's so much important, and we've solved completely. These things are important because we want to use this idea for also IMO problems, and round 2 in that level, these things are so much helpful. And also for next round and also other Olympiads, I will again release another useful ideas. You can use them. For example, for function, I told you here 6 important ideas. There are 9 other ideas. Also, there are so much useful. If you want to know the ideas, lessons are in the books, teacher says, but ideas are important. If you solve many problems, then you will see some common ideas and general ideas. General ideas are so much useful, and solving a problem with logical way also is so much important, because some tricky ways maybe in the exam it doesn't come to your mind and you can't solve problem. But if you think logically, I tried to solve all problems of junior, senior, and open section, all of them with only logical ways, step by step check the problem from different aspects. So if you had any question about the solutions of the problems in this exam or other exam, feel free to send message to my WhatsApp number in the description and comments. Thanks for watching my videos and for your support. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on notification for having next videos.